You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no calendar, no meeting in 30 minutes, no boss waiting for you, no place you are supposed to be. You open your eyes because the sky outside is getting lighter, because the fire from last night is still breathing under the ash, and because somewhere nearby, the rest of your group is beginning to move. A child is laughing softly. Someone is adding wood to the embers. Birds are calling from the trees. The air is cold, but there is no panic in it. You sit up, stretch, and ask yourself a question that feels almost impossible today. What should I do with this day? For most of human history, that question was not a fantasy. It was normal. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans woke up without jobs, no employment, no wages, no office, no factory, no career ladder, no one asking them to prove their value through productivity. And yet they survived long enough to become us. So, what did ancient humans actually do all day before jobs existed? The answer is not that they did nothing. It is not that life was easy. Ancient life could be dangerous, painful, and uncertain. A bad wound could kill you. A failed hunt could matter. A cold season could become terrifying. But the idea that prehistoric humans spent every waking second fighting starvation is also wrong. In many ways, they may have had something modern people are starving for: time that still belonged to life. Modern humans are taught that survival requires constant work. You work for food. You work for shelter. You work for the car that takes you to work. You work so that one day near the end of life, you might finally have enough time to rest. Across a lifetime, many people spend tens of thousands of hours working. Work becomes the skeleton of existence. Childhood prepares you for it. Adulthood is organized around it. Retirement is imagined as the prize for surviving it. But for the overwhelming majority of human history, there was no such thing as a job. There were tasks, skills, responsibilities, and danger, but not the modern idea that most of your day belongs to a system in exchange for permission to keep living. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer groups found something that surprised the modern world. Among groups such as the Jew/Honsi in southern Africa, the Hadza in Tanzania, the Ake in Paraguay, and others, the time spent directly getting food was often much lower than the modern workweek. People still worked hard, but they did not always work endlessly. They hunted, gathered, repaired tools, prepared food, cared for children, and maintained camp. But when the group had enough, the work could stop. That word matters: enough. In modern life, enough is always moving away from you. More money, more success, more security, more status, more productivity. But in a small hunter-gatherer group, if there was meat from yesterday, you did not hunt again just to look busy. If the tools were ready, you did not invent extra work to justify your existence. The goal was not infinite growth. The goal was survival, balance, and belonging. The bones also tell a story. When archaeologists compare many ancient hunter-gatherer skeletons with early farming populations, the difference can be striking. Early farmers often show signs of harder repetitive labor, nutritional stress, tooth decay from grain-heavy diets, and bodies worn down by the demands of agriculture. Hunter-gatherers were often taller, stronger, and less damaged by the same kind of repetitive work. This does not mean hunter-gatherers had perfect health. They did not. But it does suggest something uncomfortable. The arrival of farming did not immediately make human life easier. In some ways, it made people work harder. But the most fascinating evidence is not only in bones. It is in art. If ancient humans were trapped in constant survival panic, we would expect to find only the bare minimum: tools for cutting, hunting, scraping, and defending. Instead, we find paintings, beads, carvings, ornaments, and musical instruments. Deep inside caves, ancient people painted animals with movement, shading, and skill. Horses, lions, rhinos, bison, mammoths. These were not random scratches made by people with no time. Someone carried fire into darkness. Someone prepared pigment. Someone studied the body of an animal and turned memory into image. Not for food, not for shelter, not because anyone paid them. Because humans make meaning when they have the time and the imagination to do it. At Blombos Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found ancient shell beads, small shells pierced so they could likely be worn or strung together. Think about that. Someone collected shells, carried them, drilled tiny holes into them with stone tools, and made them beautiful. A bead does not kill a deer. A necklace does not stop the rain, but it says something deeply human. I am here. I belong. I want to be seen. In Europe, ancient flutes made from bird bone and mammoth ivory show the same thing. Someone spent time making music, not for hunting, not for defense, for sound, rhythm, emotion, and maybe a night around the fire when people wanted more than silence. These objects prove that ancient humans were not just surviving, they were creating. So let's reconstruct a day. You wake near dawn. The fire is still warm. Someone feeds it with dry sticks. You eat what remains from yesterday. Maybe roasted meat, fish, roots, berries, nuts, honey, or whatever the season is given. Breakfast is not rushed. Nobody is eating over a sink while checking messages. People talk. They remember where animal tracks were seen. They discuss which plants might be ready. They joke, tease, complain, and notice each other. This is planning, but not scheduling. The day is not divided into blocks on a calendar. It is shaped by weather, hunger, memory, and the needs of the group. By mid-morning, some people may leave camp. A few gather plants, dig roots, collect eggs, search for honey, or check familiar places where food appears at certain times of year. Others may follow tracks or prepare for a hunt. Children come along, because education is not separate from life. They learn by watching. They learn which berries are safe, which leaves heal, which animal tracks are fresh, which silences mean danger. No classroom is needed because the land is the classroom. And every adult is part teacher, part protector, part storyteller. If hunting happens, it is not always the wild chase shown in movies. Humans are not the fastest animals. We are not the strongest. We have no claws, no fangs, no thick hide. But we have cooperation, memory, endurance, and planning. A hunt may take hours. It may fail completely. Or it may succeed, and then the whole camp changes. Meat means excitement. It means butchering, sharing, cooking, smoke, fat, and stories that start forming before the meal is even finished. A successful hunt is not just food. It is social glue. It reminds everyone that survival is shared. Back at camp, other work continues. Someone sharpens a stone edge. Someone scrapes a hide until it becomes soft enough to wear. Someone weaves a basket. Someone twists plant fibers into cord. Someone repairs a spear or shapes a bone tool. This may look like work, but it is not work in the modern sense. There is no clock watching, no supervisor, no wage separating effort from meaning. If you make a spear, you know who may eat because of it. If you repair a basket, you know whose food it may carry. Skill is visible. Usefulness is personal. Your hands connect directly to life. By afternoon, the hardest part of the day may already be over. And this is where modern people struggle to understand prehistoric life. What happens when there is nothing urgent left to do? Today, free time often feels like a problem. We try to optimize it, monetize it, record it, or feel guilty for wasting it. But in an ancient camp, when the work is done, people live. They sit in the shade. They rest. They talk. They groom each other. They play with children. They carve patterns into bone or stone. They make beads, decorate tools, repair clothing, tell jokes, nap, flirt, argue, and stare at the sky. They do not need every quiet hour to become productive. Rest is not failure. It is part of being alive, and this social time is not meaningless. In a world without money, police, banks, insurance, hospitals, or written contracts, relationships are survival. If you are injured, people must help you. If you come back hungry, people must share. If your child needs care, the group matters. So people invest huge amounts of time and trust. They laugh together. They gossip. They remember who shared and who acted selfishly. They repair conflicts before they become dangerous. Before resumes, your reputation was built around the fire. Did you help? Did you share? Did you listen? Did people want you clothes when the night became cold? Then the sun goes down and something remarkable happens. The practical world softens. During the day, conversations may focus on food, tools, tracks, injuries, weather, and conflict. But at night, around the fire, the human mind expands. Stories begin. Stories about ancestors, animals, spirits, mistakes, dangers, jokes, old journeys, strange dreams, and the beginning of the world. Before writing, stories carried memory. Before schools, stories taught children. Before law, stories warned people what not to do. Before entertainment became an industry, stories helped people understand fear, death, love, hunger, and the mystery of being alive. Maybe someone plays a bone flute. Maybe someone sings. Maybe a child falls asleep against an adult's leg while the fire throws shadows onto the trees. The darkness outside the circle is dangerous, but inside the circle there is warmth, laughter, food, and meaning. This may be where culture truly lived, not in buildings or books, but in voices moving through firelight. Even sleep was different. Before artificial light, Humans did not always sleep in one solid block the way many people try to do today. Sleep could come in phases. A first sleep, a quiet waking period in the deep night, then a second sleep before dawn. Imagine waking at 2 in the morning and not calling it insomnia. No phone, no panic, no blue screen. Just darkness, breathing, the sound of others nearby, a few thoughts, maybe a dream remembered, then sleep returning naturally. So what did ancient humans do all day before jobs existed? They hunted, gathered, repaired tools, made shelter, prepared food, watched children, shared knowledge, and protected each other. But they also rested, talked, laughed, made jewelry, painted animals, played music, told stories, watched the sky, and lived inside time instead of constantly trying to defeat it. Then, around 10,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans began planting crops and domesticating animals. Agriculture seemed like a miracle. You could stay in one place. You could grow food. You could store grain. You could feed more children. But the miracle became a trap. More food meant more people. More people meant more fields. More fields meant more labor. Once a community depended on crops, it became hard to leave. The field became a schedule written into the earth. Planting, weeding, harvesting, grinding, storing, defending. The work returned again and again. From farming came villages. From villages came towns. From towns came cities. Cities needed rulers, soldiers, priests, builders, merchants, administrators, and laborers. Slowly, the old human rhythm was replaced by systems. And systems need workers. Eventually came jobs. The idea that your time could belong to someone else in exchange for resources. By the time cities grew, the ancient question had changed. It was no longer, what should we do today? It became, what must I do today to survive inside the system? This does not mean the modern world is only bad. Agriculture made civilization possible. Civilization gave us medicine, writing, science, technology, and comfort ancient humans could not imagine. But it also changed the shape of time. We gained security, but lost freedom. We gained abundance, but lost the feeling of enough. We gained cities, but often lost deep belonging. We gained endless entertainment, but lost the firelight circle where stories were shared face to face. Your ancestors did not live perfect lives. They knew hunger, pain, fear, injury, conflict, and death. But when the food was found, when the tools were repaired, when the fire was burning and the group was together, they could stop. They did not need to prove that every hour had economic value. They made art because humans make art. They told stories because humans need meaning. They rested because bodies are not machines. Before jobs existed, people were still busy. But they were busy being human. And for most of our history, that was enough.